Hey, what's up? This is Arjay and welcome back for another video. Hey, so for this video we are going to talk about Polsci Talks, which is student class, and right now I'm going to answer the 5 given questions from my professor, and this subject is all about law and public officer, and right now I'm going to talk about the qualification, the disqualification of elected officials to our country, the Philippines. Since we are talking about elected officials, do you know who are the elected officials? What? Yes, it is part to us to know who are the elected officials of our country. The elected officials of our country or in the world is the president, the vice president, senator, house of the representative, district representative, party list representative, or etc. So those are elected officials. Yan. So let's go for the 5 given questions. First question. So who has the authority to prescribe the qualification and disqualification as a public officer? So far as I know, sa aking nabawaan as a Polsci student is oh my god, nairo. Okay. The Congress has plenary authority to prescribe the qualification and disqualification to a public officer. Why? And why? Because the Congress has the power to amend or revise the Constitution. They are the one who will make a law. They are the one who will create a new subject or create a new something, a new thing that can be example for the qualification of the elected official. They have the power to revise it, they have the power to amend it. So that's it. Indeed, the Congress has a plenary authority to prescribe the qualification and disqualification to a public officer. So the second question is, when should qualification of a public officer be possessed by him or her? So before I'm going to answer the question, I'm going to react. Yes. So I think daghang mga official na wala nag-embody about the qualification or the instance of a qualification of a public officer. And my answer is they must be possessed not only at the time of the appointment or election or for the assumption of office, but during the entire period of their responsibility. Kaya some of the public officer manggod is kung na-qualify na sila, nidaog na sila, marag wala gihatag og bili ang qualification for being a public officer. So that's why dapat i-embody nila kung unsa ka importansya ang qualification, and even though nga nidaog na sila, dapat gihapon na tagaan lang pagtagad, pagserbisyo sa isa ka lugar nga yes, ay gibuhat ni nako. Therefore, everyone or every public official must be possessed during his or her entire tenure for being a public officer. So take note na. Okay, let's move on and let's go for another question. So question number 3 is, what are the qualifications for elective official? And qualifications common to all elective official. Yes, na preference kung asa ka dapita, whether president ba na, vice president ba na, or any elective official. But no person is elected to a public office unless he or she is a Filipino citizen for a sufficient age, sakto sa edad, residence, nagapuyo diri sa Pilipinas, and a registered voter diri sa Pilipinas, and also she or he can able to read and write. So I think that's the qualification for being an elected officer of our country. Okay, let's go for the 4th question. What are the disqualification for elective officials? Yan, and since we are in the democratic country and we all know that the constitution policy apply, or which is apply to enhance freedom of choice of the people. So the disqualification for elective official is the term or the tenure of serving in that community or in that country. Nganong term man, we all know that to prevent monopoly of power, and also to prevent political dynasty. And we all know that some parts of the Philippines are experience political dynasty. And sa akong part na lang is marag kung maka-experience na ni political dynasty, kung ibase nito sa pagkaon, kung magstay lang na lang ta sa isa, marag sao. And that's why in politics we need to create or make something new. So we need to apply new things, we need to apply a new kind of strategy in that kind of area in order to develop a new kind of thing, in order to be a progressive one. So I think that's the best thing nga nung ang one of the disqualification is the tenor. So I think they have given the chance to showcase the another quality or skills of the leader nga wala pa nahatag or wala pa na experience sa usa ka lugar. And the last question is, what are the specific acts that disqualified to an elective official? So first is giving a money in order to influence, or in other words, vote buying. And I know that vote buying in the Philippines are bad. Yes. And I don't know how to stop this kind of thing, kay nag-ingon nila nga vote buying is a culture na daw. And for me, it's not a culture. That's the things that we need to change right now, the mindset of that kind of thing. Vote buying is a culture. Wow. But I think that's one of the specific. And the second one is committed acts of terrorism. Yes, I know nga leader ka, but nagrally-rally ka nga na wala ka nakaangayan na bill. For example, bill, wala ka angayan na nga bill. So, ikaw, is if elected official, you need to be, di ka manghilabot na nga dapita. Kung unsa ang imong nibawaan, kung unsa imong mga hinalakita na nga dapita, dapat imo na, because there is a limitation. Kung dili ka mo na, pwede ka ma-disqualify. And the third one is spent in election campaign. Yes, I know that the committee in election will give you a time or period to campaign. But kung mo spend ka, mo taas pa ka sa campaign period o mahibawaan ka sa committee in election, that's the one thing nga pwede ka ma-disqualify. And also for made any prohibited contribution. Something nga dol lang sa vote buying. But ibutang lang nato nga wala ka nang hatag, but gipaagi nimo sa imong parente whether second civil degree ba na nimo. But kung may bawaan nga sa imong itong kwarta nga gikan, you can be disqualified. And the next one is violation under the provision of the omnibus election. If naka-violate ka nga dapita nga violation sa under omnibus election, yes, pwede kang ma-disqualified. And kung may bawaan ka there is a sanction. There is a penal sanction with this kind of action. And also made any prohibit solicitation. And for example, ni-solicit ka na para sa imong project, but wala nimo gituman. So that's the problem. If may bawaan ka ng imong gi-solicit, pwede ka makulong joy, tiwan ina. I think that's the end of this video, and I hope to see you soon, and I hope that I can able to interact you, and I really miss to see you. especially to my professor, and thank you so much.